All right, all right, all right. It's the best time of the week once again. What is it, Lionel?
Yes, sir. It is time for this week's episode of Off the Top Rope.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all know how we start these. Y'all know what we're going to talk about. Continental Classic. Things got crazy. But before we talk about that, y'all got to follow us on these social media platforms. At TAGPW Podcast. On Blue Sky and Twitter. Mainly Blue Sky at this point. Like, I don't think we're really talking too much on Twitter too much anymore, to be honest. But, yeah, make sure you follow us there. You'll be able to hear all of our takes. You'll be able to interact with us, talk with us. All of our podcasts are up there, too. So if you can't find them on YouTube or on our audio platforms, you can find them there. Speaking of those audio platforms, make sure if you can't watch us on YouTube, watch us or listen to us on Podbean and Spotify. If you look up TAGPW Off the Top Rope, you'll be able to find this lovely podcast. So you can listen to us on the go. You can download. We saw a couple people downloading on Podbean already, so thank you so much. We've seen a couple listeners on Spotify also, so thank you so much. Again, if you can't watch the video episode, if you can't see all of the match graphics and stuff like that, go ahead and listen to us. Tell us other places that they can watch the podcast, Proffitt.
So, since you're on YouTube already, you can watch it here. And you can also watch all of our podcasts that we have, not just Off the Top Rope. You can watch the OVA, which we talk about anime. And then we also talk about games on the Command Grab. So we have, we have a lot of content on here. So if you're doing us a favor on this episode, drop a like button. Gotta drop a like button. Jesus, don't drop it. Please don't. Click on the like button. That will for sure help us out. And then, if you would want to, hit that subscribe button and click on the bell. So that way you get all of our content whenever it comes out. And you'll be up to date. And you know what? You may even want to go back and watch the previous episodes. I always have those links in the description to previous episodes that you can listen to. So, with that, thank you very much. And let's get on with the show.
All right, man. We're going to be talking about Continental Classic first. As always, this is how this podcast has worked the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Both leagues are insane. So, I'm going to give you the option. Which crazy league do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Gold League first or Blue League first?
Oh, Lord have mercy. So, okay. I don't know which one's crazier, honestly. Let's talk about, let's go Gold League. Let's talk about Gold League first.
Gold League first.
Yeah. This
was also kind of crazy. They got some story stuff in here running around. The first Gold League match we're going to talk about is the only one that was on Dynamite for Gold League, which was Will Ospreay and Darby Allin. If y'all have not already seen the clips about what was going on in this match, please go ahead and watch it.
Yep.
This match was insane. I'm not usually the one talking about spots too much, but we got to talk about that Styles Clash off of the apron onto the ground.
Ooh.
We got to talk about that hidden blade that Ospreay hit after flipping Darby up and Darby landing on his feet. That whole sequence was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Darby tried to hit his splash, didn't work. Ospreay flipped him, backflip. Darby landed on his feet straight into a hidden blade.
Yeah.
This match, like I said, was insane. So if you haven't watched it, please do. We gotta talk about the ending though.
Mm-hmm.
Which is I think it was unexpected for a lot of people. I think.
Probably.
Ospreay was in control. Darby wasn't going super crazy. We'll talk about him going super crazy on Collision. But Darby was in a losing position right now. He always is at this point. Ospreay tried to hit the Stormbreaker. couldn't hit Darby with it. Darby countered into a Scorpion Death Drop, and then hit the Coffin Drop to beat Will Ospreay. So Darby Allin beat Will Ospreay, and at that point took himself to 6 points.
Yep.
And that also left Ospreay at 6 points. Both of them have one match left. Or at this point, they both have 2 matches left.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to talk about for this match before we move on?
This match, I just gotta say, this match was insane. This could have been this match could have easily been on any pay-per-view. Any pay-per-view, and tore the house down.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then that's not even speaking of like the other Gold League matches that happened that could do the same thing.
Oh yeah. Gold League was crazy this week.
Gold League and Blue League. Like, it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like Darby Allin and Will Ospreay also shows like there's another level of things that it shows as far as Will Ospreay goes, and it's something I mentioned about a month ago about him taking losses, and which is what makes Will Ospreay pretty much the GOAT, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
He could take a loss, he could keep going, but he's willing to take those losses, right? Versus other people that say no, ain't gonna name no names, but there's a big difference, and it always pays off every time.
I will. Miro.
I said I ain't gonna say no names, man. Come on.
No, I will. You can be the good guy. I'm not gonna be a good guy about this. I've been annoyed with people like Miro for years. So anytime there's a shot, I'm gonna take it.
So Will Ospreay taking, we'll talk about his other match later, but he took the losses. It doesn't hurt him. It doesn't hurt him at all. But he's willing to do what's best for what's best for everything. And that's what makes him so great. Like, Ospreay is like a definition of greatness in pro wrestling right now.
We've talked about it, right? Like, AEW's top stars right now, right? The younger top stars are people like Hangman, people like Ospreay, people like Swerve. All of them are very willing to take losses. Some to the dismay of the internet, because the internet freaks out when Hangman loses. Because Hangman be losing, let me tell you. And the internet freaks out every time. But that's what you need. Like, we got to remember, wrestling is fun, all that stuff. But if you want to make people look believable, your top stars gotta lose. Swerve lost to Bobby Lashley recently, right? We talked about Ospreay just losing to Darby. We're gonna talk about his other match pretty soon too. That one might be a little different, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yep.
We've even seen like people like Okada losing. Okada barely lost in New Japan. It was rare for him to lose in New Japan. He's been losing here. These are the kind of things that you need if you want to build your stars. And Darby is already a star, yes. But that's the point of these tournaments. No one goes through these tournaments undefeated. Usually. That's not how these tournaments work. You got to be willing to lose when you're here. Yeah. Like the Beast Mortos.
And I'm going to say this. Every single Beast Mortos match was fucking great.
That motherfucker didn't win one match, though. Not one.
I know. Neither did Commander, but Commander's now the Ring of Honor television champion.
Oh, yeah. Morto's got some shit coming to him, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't go... Every time, like, somebody goes, like, like, in the Continental Classic, there's one person that's going to take the L's, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they take those L's, it was Mark Briscoe last year. That was, like, the main one, right?
Yeah.
Immediately right after that, he won the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So, just saying, like, every match, he had damn good matches every time, which is what you need in the Continental Classic.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the definition of what this tournament is. everybody mixing it up, but they're like some of the best matches that you'll always see for like 20 minutes. 20 minutes of great wrestling. And yeah, like so Beast Bortos this year, every single match he did in the Continental Classic was great. Commander taking the place of Juice Robinson. Every single match he's done so far has been great.
Mm-hmm.
Playing that lost role, he might play with that new TV title, though. He might play spoiler to somebody.
Oh yeah.
His final match.
I mean, that final match is against Claudio. So.
Yep. I don't see him going on like staying. I don't see him going on 5. I think it's going to be 1 and 4.
Mm-hmm. Which really quick, before we get into more matches, at the time of recording, Dynamite has been taped.
Yes.
We are not going to talk about those. We're going to keep it strictly with what has been happening this week on AEW. So, just as a warning too, if you are also invested in AEW and listen to us at this point, there's a very high chance on social media that you will be spoiled for Dynamite. We will not be doing that here. We're just going to be talking about what we have.
Yep.
And I'm going to look it up later, and then I'm not going to tell Proffitt that I looked it up.
You're probably going to totally tell me you looked it up.
Oh, I'm totally going to tell you on Monday.
I'm probably going to be like, yeah, so.
Here's your final 4. But we're going to go back in the Gold League. We're going to go over to Rampage, talking about the only Gold League match. Speaking of which, Commander is here. Oh, you know what? We could have talked about Ring of Honor early, but you know, we could talk about that a little bit later. We could do it a little later. The only match on Rampage for Gold League was Commander pulling double duty in 2 different states against Brody King. Let me tell you, Commander got his ass beat in this match, but he never gave up. Even to the point where Brody was looking frustrated. Like, it was just really good. Commander was not gonna say die. He was not gonna stop. Commander tried to do everything. Commander was just too small against Brody. He had some offense in here. He was able to do some stuff, but realistically, Brody just overpowered him. And again, never gave up. The fans were behind Commander. Everyone loved Commander. Like, you usually, when Brody's in a match, usually Brody is the one being cheered. Not this time. Which also happened on Ring of Honor, which we'll talk about later. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But all in all, Brody King still won the match. Brody King was able to get his 3 points, which sent him to, I believe, 6. Yeah, it was 6. Any thoughts on that match?
See, this is before Commander got his power up. The title belts give you power ups, man.
Yeah, I mean the way that it was placed, it was wild because like I watched Ring of Honor and then I watched Rampage on Saturday right before Collision, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Commander was wrestling at the same time on Ring of Honor and AEW. Hilarious, by the way.
Oh shit.
Yeah, same time.
Yeah, they're on Friday.
Yeah. Any thoughts? Any other thoughts on that?
No. I thought it was great. The Brody King's final matches with Will Ospreay.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That's gonna be a match. I can't wait to watch that.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're gonna talk about that next week.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna go on to Collision. I'm gonna save Ospreay and Ricochet for last for Gold League.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about what was the main event for Collision. Claudio versus Darby Allin. Oh boy. Darby came off of that upset against Will Ospreay. Claudio's been, head of the pack. He was tied for 6 with like 4 other people. Darby and Claudio are also on this hatred feud right now because Darby is so sick of the Death Riders, right? Like Darby's whole thing about the last month has been trying to get at Moxley. He tried to go through Claudio. They had a match recently. Claudio beat his ass.
Yep.
So everyone was expecting Darby's going to go all out. Darby's going to do what he's going to do. And Darby's going to win this match. And let me tell you, Darby went all out. I'm pretty sure. I'm surprised he's not concussed. Because of what happened at the beginning of the match. Beginning of the match, Darby flies like only Darby can. Takes out Claudio. They go up the ramp. This is in Hammerstein Ballroom, by the way. So, shout out to that. That was a gorgeous venue. We'll probably talk about that more when we actually talk about Collision.
Mm-hmm.
But Darby climbs up on top of the entrance ramp. Jumps off. Like, hits Claudio real hard. Claudio didn't even look like he moved for a second. He was like, oh shit, I have to sell. And it, like, fell. And Darby hit his head on the back of the entrance ramp so hard, and the whiplash was so bad, I thought he was concussed. I was like, oh, they're gonna stop the match. This is it. They did not stop the match. Darby was not concussed, surprisingly enough. Or he might have been, but he was just fighting through it. I don't know. But he was going. Darby was like a man possessed, but it didn't work. Because once Claudio, after that entrance ramp thing, Darby had a little bit of offense here and there, but it wasn't working against Claudio.
No.
It was like a part 2 of that match from a month ago. Claudio beat the brakes off of Darby, throwing him around. He did the swing into the ring steps. He slammed him. He threw him around. It was rough to watch.
Oh, shit, he did the giant swing for like over a minute straight.
Oh, yeah.
Minute straight. It had a second burst and then kept going and then tossed him out of the ring.
And this was right after Darby hit his head on the entrance ramp, by the way. It was like maybe a minute after that.
Yes.
That should tell you how far Claudio went once Darby concussed himself, basically.
No, like after that, the match just there's a ramp. There's the beginning of it. Darby jumps off of that thing and hits his head, and then it goes up through the roof.
Darby tried. He went crazy. He was able to kick out a lot of Claudio stuff. Claudio hit the Ricola bomb a couple times, which I've been giving Tony Schiavone a lot of shit lately. I love Tony Schiavone, but he was like, oh, it was just a power bomb. It was like, yeah, but is this Ricola? Like, I was like, Ricola at home, right? But that's me being annoyed about that. None of that worked. So eventually, Claudio goes out. He puts something in his tights and then grabs a chair and then throws the chair in the ring. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit Darby with his chair." And the referee's like, "No, you can't do that." So he takes the chair from Claudio, throws it away. Claudio takes out brass knucks from his tights and knocks Darby the fuck out.
Tosses him out the ring.
After all the shit Claudio did, Claudio just took some brass knucks and just stole on Darby, just knocked him clean out for the 1, 2, 3. Darby loses, Claudio wins. Claudio goes to 9 points with another person we're going to be talking about pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk after the match. There's a couple things that happened after the match. We'll talk about that once we get into actual Collision. We have any thoughts on this one before we move on to what I consider the Gold League main event?
Man, that shit was, again, it was another ridiculous match. Like the back and forth on that match, and it's just like Darby was fighting, man. Like, he was using every part of that 165 pounds he has to try to knock Claudio out, like try to take him out. Pretty much use his body as a missile, and it wasn't going to work on Claudio, but he wouldn't quit, and it was pretty much it was a battle of attrition in a way, but it was just like, what do you bring to rock, paper, scissors? A shotgun. Shotgun always wins, right? And that's what Claudio did with the brass knuckles. He tried all the other shit, and he's like, man, I am tired of this. And gets the brass knuckles and hits him in the face with it.
Knocked his ass clean out.
Knocked him out. Like, this will take you out for 3 seconds.
ended.
So it was great. It was great.
I enjoyed it. It was a fun match. Now, we got to talk about the match that opened Collision.
Mm-hmm.
We got to talk about Collision, Hammerstein Ballroom, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet.
Hot damn.
I think I might have skipped the Ricochet match earlier on Dynamite. I'm pretty sure I did. We don't have to worry about that right now. We don't talk about that. That's fine. That's fine. After being geeked out by the Hurt Syndicate, Ricochet's out here on a mission. And he got geeked out already, I'm telling you. We'll really talk about that later though.
Oh man.
This was the very first match for Collision in Hammerstein Ballroom. Crowd was lit. Crowd was hot. They were so excited after Big Boom AJ and all that stuff. They were so excited to see Ospreay and Ricochet. We got a couple streamers for Ospreay. We didn't really get that many other streamers after this. I guess they might have taken away. It was like, it's just a Ring of Honor thing. No. Fans threw toilet paper in the ring when Ricochet got in the ring. Ospreay leaves the ring and starts busting out laughing.
He was laughing so hard he had to leave.
Ricochet's like, what the hell? Is this me? Ricochet,
was so good.
it was just, Ricochet, he tried. It wasn't working, right? Like, anyway, going to the match. This was a Will Ospreay Ricochet match.
Yep.
Through and through. Match was fantastic. This is the first time that we got to see Ricochet try to do the spirit gun against Ospreay. So that was fun. This was our first interaction of their finishers now. So that was fun.
Yeah.
I can't talk about the spots in this match because the match was crazy. You should be watching all the Continental Classic matches, but if you haven't watched this one, please do. Let me tell you though, Ricochet.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we might have to have a conversation about this one.
Oh, we will.
But how this ends is Ospreay tried to hit Vertigo. Didn't work. Or no, sorry. Ricochet tried to hit Vertigo. Ospreay countered. Tried to go for the Tiger Driver. Didn't work. Ricochet shoves the ref. Ref gets all loopy. Kind of falls over. Ricochet used that time to take advantage. Hit Ospreay with the spirit gun. And win the match. Ricochet used the ref to make sure Ospreay couldn't do what he was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of happened fast. Like, it was definitely not missable, right? And they didn't even bother trying to put that on replay either, even though they were talking about it. I think they were going to, but they didn't. And that caused, like, a little bit of a stir backstage. I don't know if you saw the backstage.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, where Ospreay goes to Ricochet, is like, you did it on purpose. And they were going at it. And I think Cole Cabana didn't know this was for, like, TV, because Cole Cabana's like, oh, shit. He gets up, he walks away, walks around, and gets in the middle of the... Cole Cabana was like looking, he was like, oh shit, not again. And he got up. But yeah, this caused a stir. Ricochet ended up winning the match, which put Ricochet at 9 points, which also means that Ospreay lost both of his matches this week for the Continental Classic.
Yes.
So Ospreay is still stuck at 6. Ricochet is at 9. Oh, he did the same thing, bro. Oh, the Brody match was last week. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yep.
Was last week. But yeah. So right now, Gold League, we have Claudio and Ricochet at 9 points with 1 match left. Darby and Ospreay and Brody King at 6 points, all with 1 match left.
Mm-hmm.
Ricochet has to wrestle Darby. Claudio has to wrestle Commander. And Ospreay has to wrestle Brody King.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Those matches, again, matches have happened. We're not going to talk about them. I don't even know what happened. So, like, I haven't looked it up. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Ricochet and Ospreay before we get into the Blue League tiebreakers?
Man, again, it just like the Ospreay Darby match. This could have been put on any pay-per-view. And it would have been amazing there, too. That's how good this match was. The ending of it, so he kicked the ref twice.
Mm-hmm.
So the second time is when Ospreay was going to the top rope, and he kicked the ref and knocked the ref into the rope, so Ospreay would fall down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened, and he took advantage and won. But the first time, it looked like the ref got too close, and then he kicked him over. He kicked him on the Ospreay, and that's what, like, you know, and then he started using the ref for interference. So, you know, Ricochet doing that full turn, that full heel turn. And I think it's great because you have you have the two different sides of the coin, because Ospreay and Ricochet are kind of mirrors of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make sense for both of them to be faces all the time. Not at all. There needs to be a good one and a bad. You know, like there needs to be like two sides. The two sides of it. And I think Ricochet plays the perfect part of the villain part.
I mean, down to stolen, right? Like,
yeah.
Ricochet literally stole a version of the Hidden Blade with the Spirit Gun from Ospreay, right? So they're definitely you nailed it, right? They're two sides of the same coin.
Yep.
I mean, Ricochet also, he has some, you know, the shit to build up because he kind of, you know, got geeked out early in the week by the Syndicate.
He got punked by the Syndicate.
But we'll talk about that more once we get into our actual, like, reviews of the show. But now we got to talk about tiebreakers. Again, for those who don't know, the rules are already on the screen if you already see them. The semifinals, we got 2 people going to semifinals. Right now, the easiest path is for Ricochet and Claudio. They just got to win. They win, they're going to the semifinals. It doesn't matter which one's on top, but it would be Claudio would be number 1 and Ricochet would be 2. Because Claudio has beaten Ricochet. That was the first match. So Claudio will be number 1, Ricochet will be number 2. They just have to win out. That's all they got to do. Claudio has to beat Commander, and Ricochet has to beat Darby Allin. I mean, the Ricochet one might be easier than anything because Darby killed himself. So we'll see how that goes. The other people who are still in are Darby, Ospreay, and Brody. All of them need to win, but they also need help. Right? Because their now total is 9 points. The easiest person here is probably Darby. Because if Darby wins his match against Ricochet, he's at 9. He has a tiebreaker against Claudio. He has a tiebreaker against Ospreay. That would help out. But he would also need Claudio to lose Commander. Ospreay would need to win. He needs to beat Brody. And Ospreay's tiebreakers kind of suck, to be completely honest.
All of them.
Like he only has a tiebreaker over Claudio. So he would need Claudio to lose also to get there. Like right now, the easiest path is for Claudio and Ricochet. They just got to win their matches. Brody's the same thing. If Brody beats Ospreay, he needs help because his tiebreakers also suck. His only tiebreaker, actually, he doesn't even have a tiebreaker against Claudio or Ricochet. So that might suck for him. If they're all at 9, Brody would be at 3. So Brody, we can call Brody effectively eliminated. Because even if you were to win against Ospreay, And even if Ricochet, and if the other two were to lose, he still doesn't have the tiebreakers over either one, so he'd be third. So right now, this is a 4-way race between Darby, Claudio, Will Ospreay, and Ricochet. And we have to talk about Commander. He might get that win against Claudio, which will keep him at 9, which will help. But Commander's max will be 3. He's already eliminated. He's been eliminated. We said I tried to be nice about it last week, but yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
What you got?
Oh God.
Yep. Blue League's only worse.
Yeah, Blue League's worse.
Yeah.
So, you know what? You know what's funny? I see Ricochet probably beating Darby Allin.
Mm-hmm.
I see him beating Darby Allin. To be like the definitive leader of a Gold League. I'm thinking Claudio's going to lose to Commander.
Mm-hmm.
It's either he's losing to Commander or it's going to be a draw. That Brody King Ospreay. Oh, Lord have mercy. I have no idea where that would go.
Yeah.
That's like, to me, that's a draw. But
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
If I had to like pick a winner, it's probably Ospreay for that.
I'm gonna break down your scenario really quick. All right.
Claudio
could tie Commander. That will put him at 10 points. That would still help him.
Yep.
That would he'll still help him. Will Ospreay if Will Ospreay wants to get to the semifinals, because realistically that's the main path right now, right? It's most likely. I broke it down to 4, but really it's just Claudio, Ospreay, and Ricochet. I don't think Darby. Because Darby is wrestling Ricochet, so I don't think that's happening, right? Claudio would have 10 points if he were to tie with Commander, which will put him second. If Ospreay wants to make it to the semis, he needs for Commander to beat Claudio. Like, it has to be a pinfall, submission, count out, whatever way. That's what Ospreay needs if he wants to be in the semifinals. And then he would have to beat Brody King, which is also not easy, right? That's not easy either. If Will Ospreay draws against Brody King, it's over for him. That puts him at 7 points. Ricochet, again, the same situation. If he were to tie with Darby, which I don't think that's going to happen, that will put Ricochet at 10 points. He would go. So right now, for sure, it feels like Ricochet is in the best place because Ricochet is going to fight Darby Allin. Darby's basically killed himself already. Will Ospreay wants to get there. He needs Claudio to lose, and Will Ospreay needs to win his match. Only way that Ospreay is going to make it into the semifinals.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I shouldn't have looked.
No, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
I ain't gonna talk about it here.
Don't talk about it.
We'll talk about it after the pod is done. Yeah. That in that situation, yeah, it's pretty insane.
It's funny now because I know you saw it now, so you're trying really hard to not say something.
Actually, the results are even more insane than I thought. So yeah, no, it's actually pretty insane.
I will be clean. I'm not gonna look.
No. You'll be fine. You'll be fine till tomorrow. But yeah, you'll be good.
But yeah, right now, so Ospreay needs a Claudio loss and a Ospreay win to win. Ricochet just needs to win against Darby Allin. Claudio just needs to win against Commander. Darby needs a win against Ricochet and a Claudio loss, actually.
Yep.
Damn it, you saw it. Now I'm gonna overthink everything you're gonna say now. It's gonna be crazy.
Don't overthink anything. I'm just saying, yep. I'm saying yep to. I'm saying yes.
Because my math checks out and you saw it.
It does. Actually, here's the funny thing. Your math is pretty spot on.
Yeah, bro. Look, I'm really nerdy about this wrestling tournament shits, bro. I told you.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying your math is spot on. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say what part of it, but
Oh,
I will say it's spot on.
some shit happened. Oh, some shit happened. I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna look.
Wait till the end, and then I will tell you.
Okay. We will move on to Blue League. Okay. Going to Blue League. We're going back to Dynamite. We have to talk about. Oh, sorry, Swiper like moved and he like freaked me out for a second. I'm not used to having a dog in here. Blue League match: Shelton Benjamin versus Beast Mortos. I already teased it. Mortos didn't win a match, which means he lost against Shelton. Well, let me tell you, Shelton Benjamin, man, that's a 49-year-old man saving the Beast Mortos from like falling on his ass a couple times.
Yeah. A couple times, yeah.
And then blast him with a knee as a thank you. This is a really good match. As you expect from Shelton Benjamin and Beast Mortos at this point, you expect a really good match. It was very good. Shelton was still able to like power around Beast Mortos, which I don't know why that was so surprising to me, but it was. I guess I'm still used to Shelton being in WWE. I forget how strong he is. But he's also tall and strong. So he was able to throw around Beast Mortos. Mortos was fighting back too, though.
It's not that he was a WWE. It's the fact that he's a D1 fucking college wrestler.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm talking about WWE because he was always, like, smaller in there. But you forget he's, like, 6'3", 6'4". Like, he's huge.
He's huge.
But when you're in the land of the giants, you don't seem all that huge.
Right. He seemed like he was like an average height person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, to like mostly more, normal people, size-ish wise, yeah, he's a giant.
It was like I think we talked about it on the podcast before. I think the podcast was around when Copeland showed up in AEW, when Edge showed up in AEW, and he was faced off with Luchasaurus, and we're like, oh shit, has Edge always been this huge? He was like eye to eye with who's supposed to be a giant of AEW, eye to eye, and we're like, oh shit, wait, what's going on?
Well, it was like that when the first time. So the first time I've ever seen Christian Cage live was it TNA Bound for Glory when he went up against Josh Alexander?
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, man. What? It didn't compute, man, because like you see him on TV, he's like, well, you see him in WWE, right? And he was, he just seemed like, just like a skinny guy that was I don't know, it didn't seem like he was tall. Mm-hmm. And like, he was like, average height and skinny, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see him in TNA against Josh Alexander, I'm like, the fuck? That guy is actually really big.
It didn't make sense. Yeah. It just, people leave WWE, you realize how huge they really are, which is crazy, but it is what it is. Shelton did beat Beast Mortos. That brought Shelton up to what I believe that was 6 points at that point. Yeah, it was 6 points at that point. Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that was it was a good match, but man, Shelton beasted. He was tossing Mortos around like he was a rag doll, man.
It was crazy. But that's what I'm saying. Like there was a point where Mortos was trying to get on the rope, right? And he like slipped and fell.
Yeah.
And then Shelton was like, all right, get your ass up. Picked him up, then ran and hit him with the knee. And I was like, oh shit. Mortos, you shouldn't have fell, bro. I would just fall out the ring, man.
He just tossed him, man. It was like, oh man.
And that,
yeah, he ragdolled him.
And that was the match. Which again, like we know Shelton's strong. You said it, he was a D1 athlete. He was like damn near undefeated going through there, right? Like, he has records that still hold to this day as a D1 wrestler.
Yes.
But you just sometimes you forget. Just that motherfucker is strong.
Yeah. Oh, and also, like, let's just add to the fact during his college days, his roommates and training partners with Brock Lesnar. Just take that as you will.
he told a story on AEW Unrestricted, their AEW's podcast where they're talking to wrestlers, where he was talking about, like, there was some faded match between Brock Lesnar and Shelton Benjamin, and Shelton was like, you ask Brock will say that he won. You ask me, I say he cheated. I was like, oh yeah, fucking Chris Jericho can beat your ass. You ain't tossing around Shelton without cheating for sure.
Yeah.
But we're gonna move on. We'll do one more Mortos match. This one was actually kind of surprising to me because I don't think anyone went winless in the Continental Classic last year. I think everyone at least had 3 points. I believe.
No, Daniel Garcia.
No, he beat Brody King, didn't he, in the last match? Like, he went 0 to last week and then beat Brody. Oh
yeah, he did get one. He got one.
The same with Briscoe. Briscoe was like did nothing also until like the last week.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone had at least one match. So I was like, okay, this is where Mark's gonna come in. He's gonna lose some more, so most of he has 3 points. This will knock Mark Briscoe out. He'll have 6. That did not happen.
Nope.
This is Mark Briscoe's last match in the Continental Classic. He beat Beast Mortos, and he's tied for first place. And by tied, I mean he has the tiebreaker against Kyle Fletcher. So right now, well, to me right now, not to Proffitt, because Proffitt already knows what happened, but to me, Mark Briscoe is in first place. He beat Kyle Fletcher last week. Mm-hmm. First place.
Yes.
People got to pass him to get him out. Right now, for me, right now, he is a lock for the semifinals. He has to lose, not has to lose. People have to win their matches to beat him, to get him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on that match between Mortos and Mark Briscoe?
That match was fun, man. It was really fun. Him and Mortos had you watch it, you're like, yeah, they were having fun out there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pretty damn good match. And again, I'm just gonna say, don't ever challenge Mark Briscoe on Collision. Dear God, don't do that. You're gonna lose.
Yeah, literally all the matches he won were on Collision. Literally all of them.
All the ones he lost were on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Right. Dynamite, he gets killed, and then he gets the Collision power up. I don't know if Hologram gave him the Captain Collision mask or something, but I don't know. He just becomes super powered, and he fucking wrecks everybody there.
Bro, the only people Mark Briscoe lost to were Okada and Shelton Benjamin.
Yes.
Those were the only 2 losses.
On Dynamite.
They're both on Dynamite. He beat Fletcher Garcia. He beat Kyle Fletcher, who is on a run. He was the first person to pin Kyle Fletcher since Kyle Fletcher's been on this run. Right?
Yes.
Daniel Garcia, first person to pin Daniel Garcia since winning the TNT Championship, which is crazy. And then, I mean, Mortos went winless, but he beat Mortos also.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, Mark Briscoe's in first place.
Yes.
Okada has a chance because he has to beat Shelton Benjamin. Before we get there, I'll talk about the other matches. Other match.
Yep.
One other Blue League match, and it happens to be Shelton Benjamin against Daniel Garcia. Let me tell you, this shit pissed me off. All Shelton has to do was win this. He's at 9 points, in a very good position to move on.
Mm-hmm.
But no. He was beating the shit out of Garcia. It was working out. Shelton Benjamin had held up that TNT Championship, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we go through the actual shows.
Yeah.
Only to get rolled up and lose. It was a shock pin, but he lost.
Well, Dan Garcia wasn't going to beat him clean. There ain't no damn way, dude.
No. He shouldn't have beat him at all. But it's wrestling. It can happen.
If he was going to lose, that was the way he was going to lose. Like, it was just he was not going to lose. It wasn't going to be like no clean loss. And I think they're setting up for later. I think there's going to be. I think this isn't the last we've seen of Shelton Benjamin versus Daniel Garcia.
There's a scenario there right now, pretty easily, where Garcia and Shelton are not in the semifinal, so they could have a match at World's End for the TNT Championship.
Yeah,
very easy scenario.
That's a very easy scenario.
That was it. Any other thoughts on Shelton and Garcia?
Talk about ragdolling. So whatever Shelton did to Mortos, he did even more to Daniel Garcia.
Garcia needed help from the audience to stand up. At one point, the audience was pulling him up. Like, come on, get up.
And commentary was even more hilarious because, what's his name? Daddy Magic. He was trying to hype up Garcia. He was like, well, Tony Schiavone was like, well, was there any kind of game plan? And he's like, yeah, we're going to focus on the knee. And Schiavone's like, well, that's kind of not happening right now. and then Daddy Magic at the beginning, when Daniel Garcia jumped him for a second, he's like, yeah, get him, Danny. Yeah, Danny Garcia's looking good. He's like, and Tony Schiavone's like, well, yes, he's looking good for this first 10 seconds of the match. And then that's when Shelton just like picked him up and started tossing him everywhere.
Daddy Magic also sounds surprised when Garcia won, by the way. He was like, oh my God. So yeah, he wasn't expecting Garcia to win either. But he did. I mean, he got beat up afterwards. But, he did win the match. That brought Garcia to 7 points. Oh, yep. Now scenarios. The only two matches remaining right now for Blue League are Okada versus Shelton Benjamin, and Kyle Fletcher versus Daniel Garcia.
Yes.
Scenario: everyone has to try to pass Mark Briscoe. I never thought I'd be saying that. If you would have even told me last week, I'd have been like, no.
Like, ain't no damn way.
Right now, if it were to end right now, Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher would be in the semifinals. Mark Briscoe at 1 because he beat Kyle Fletcher, and Kyle Fletcher at 2. Easiest path right now is for Fletcher. Fletcher just has to beat Daniel Garcia. That puts him at 12, number 1. That puts Mark Briscoe at number 2.
Right.
Okada also, I mean, it's not easy. Okada has a chance to also pass by beating Shelton Benjamin. Put him at 10 points.
Yep.
Shelton Benjamin, it kind of sucks for him right now. He can go to 9 by beating Okada. That'll help him pass Okada. But the two people who beat him, that would actually help him. If he were to get to 9, he passes Mark Briscoe because he beat Briscoe. So that will put him at 2nd.
Right.
Let's see who else. Daniel Garcia, it's the exact same spot as Okada. He beats Fletcher. That puts him at 10. He's number 1, right?
Yep.
So right now, people do have a good chance to pass him. Like, everyone who's still in the hunt has a good chance to pass him. They just need to win their matches.
Yep, they all have a good chance.
All have a good chance. I know you already saw what happened. We already know Mark Briscoe in the semifinals. I don't have to look a spoiler to see that. Right now, like I said, Kyle Fletcher, easiest path. He just has to beat Garcia. Puts him at 12. Easy win. Easy in. And then if Shelton Benjamin were to beat Okada, he passes Briscoe also. If Okada wins against Shelton, pass him also. I'm not going to give Garcia the time of day because Garcia's not. I don't care what happens. Garcia is not. He's not going to semifinals. Garcia has a TNT title match against Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
Shelton Benjamin could probably tie with Okada. That'll put Okada at 8, put Shelton at 7. That'll put Shelton out. Okada will be technically out by that point too. Yeah. There's some scenarios here. I'm assuming it can get crazy. Okada and Shelton Benjamin having a time limit draw seems very likable, like very reasonable to me. I could see that happening. That puts Sheldon at 7, Okada at 8.
Yeah.
Even with even Kyle Fletcher and Dan Garcia, they could do a time limit draw. That'll put Fletcher at 10, Garcia at 8, which would be weird. But yeah, there's scenarios.
A lot of scenarios.
What are your spoiler-free thoughts?
Spoiler-free thoughts. I think it could go any way. I like spoiler-free. Like even like you could go back a few podcasts ago, and I said Kyle Fletcher is more than likely taking for
Yeah.
no matter what. Like I you know, yeah, like Kyle. It's just one of those things. I do think like the interesting thing is Okada, like all the battle below, the battle for second. That's where the war is. It's the Mario Kart scenario.
At this point, right? It's either going to be Okada. Okay, we can assume that Kyle Fletcher is going to take first, right? It's easy to assume.
Yeah.
The only two people who are, because it would either be Okada or Shelton, because with this scenario that means Garcia lost,
Right.
or got a draw, which doesn't help him either.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be either Okada or Shelton a second.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna assume is Okada. Which means we would get, if I'm looking at this, I'm gonna say, and you already know this, so you can laugh, you can do whatever you want. I think
I'm gonna turn my mic off.
Okay, here we go. So I'm guessing Ospreay's gonna be second. Kyle Fletcher's gonna be first in Blue League. So we're gonna get Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. The winner of that will go to the finals. And then I'm guessing first place will be Ricochet, who will be wrestling Okada. And the winner of that will go to go to the finals. And I guess we could see Ospreay Ricochet again, because we got that like kind of built up a little bit for the finals. That's possible with the way they're doing this. Okay, you unmute now. Wait, actually, wait a second first. Then unmute.
Wait. What?
I want to make sure we didn't get the laugh just in case.
No. We're good. I'll just say this. I've already guessed right.
Oh, so okay. That's all I need to know. So we're basically on the right path.
In Gold League, I've already guessed right before I even saw the results.
Do you have any thoughts on Blue League while I sit and look up these results?
Blue League's insane. That's all I'm gonna say. Blue League's insane. It's going to have a lot of people go, "Oh shit, okay."
You have any more final thoughts on Blue League?
No, Blue League's crazy. I can't wait to see the final matches for both leagues next week. They're gonna be fun.
All right. And then I think on that note, we can go into AEW Dynamite.
AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite was pretty damn good. So, like, literally right in the beginning of AEW, of Dynamite, we get a Renee Paquette interview with Jay White and Orange Cassidy. And it's pretty much a thing where it's like, because they had the tag match later in the night, so him and Orange Cassidy are talking, and he's like, "Hey, are we fighting each other, or are we fighting the Death Riders? Who we fighting? What's the focus here? Because we could focus on fighting the Death Riders, and then we'll get, and then we can fight each other later on. But and one of the main things Jay White says is like, hey, my main focus is for that championship at World's End. But they keep talking, and then later on, Hangman interrupts, and he only says one thing. He just says, "Tonight, John Moxley's mine," and then he just runs away. And that's the start of our Dynamite. Right after that, we had the TBS Championship match and it was Mercedes Moné, our current champion, versus Anna Jay. Man, let me tell you, that match was Mercedes Moné is on a roll.
It was such a damn good match.
It was a damn good match. They both performed, and you could see, like, once again, you get that what was it, 2-3 months in Japan did wonders for Anna Jay. And Mercedes. She was going in, she was doing her thing. Match was great. I'm not gonna completely I would say watch this match if you get a chance to. Mercedes ended the match with the Monet Maker and pins Anna Jay. And while after she pinned Anna Jay, it kind of goes to the back, and we have Chris Statlander watching on the monitor backstage, kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen a little bit, at World's End, or a little bit later, right? So you got anything on that one?
I really enjoyed this match. This is also Mercedes' second match that week, because she wrestled in not Battle in the Valley. What was it? Strong Style Evolved, I think the show was.
Mm-hmm.
And a really good match against Hanako. Very good match. So Mercedes out here doing what she's doing. I said it on Blue Sky. I'm gonna say it again. Y'all need to stop playing with Mercedes.
Yep.
There's a reason why she is one of the greatest of this generation. At her young age, there's a reason why she is one of the greatest of her generation. And it's reasons like this. She can go out there and have a barn burner with 99.9% of anyone. She could probably take me to a 4-star match somehow. I don't know how, but she could do it probably. That's how good she is.
Mm-hmm.
Stop playing with Mercedes. She's a GOAT for a reason.
Yeah, people need to stop, talking all that shit. I know where they're getting it from. And it's people that don't even. A lot of times that crap talk is from people that ain't even watching AEW. They're just, they're regurgitating shit from other places.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just say that.
It's the same thing that happened with Athena this week, right?
Yep.
Athena being one of, not one of. Don't let me calm down. Let me not underflate it. Literally having one of the greatest runs as a world champion of all time.
Yes.
People are mad that she is a world champion. Despite the fact that we know that there is a TV deal coming. And
yes.
Why would you take the title? I got surprised at first too. I was like, oh shit, I thought Athena was gonna lose. But why would you take the title off of literally one of the greatest champions of all time, and literally the greatest champion in Ring of Honor history? Literally. When you have a TV deal coming.
Right. And on top of that, why would you take it from her when you're also going to Japan for a pay-per-view and being able to show one of your world champions?
Exactly.
Right. So it's for dual purposes. It's like after the TV deal happens and all that stuff, and probably a little bit later, she'll probably drop the title and either stay on Ring of Honor or go to Dynamite. Who knows? But there's no damn way she's been doing all that work and then go to TV without that title. No, that ain't happening.
No, it didn't make sense. Like I was also of the belief that it makes sense for Athena to lose, right? But when you really think about it, if there is a TV deal coming, she's not losing.
Yeah. And also, people got to remember, Billy Starkz is 20.
She will have another chance. I saw people like, oh, you wasted the story. Like, no, the story's not over.
It's not even over. Yeah, it's not over at all.
Like, y'all used to watch WWE, right? How many times did The Rock wrestle Stone Cold? It wasn't definitely more than once.
Yeah, and more than once as a face, as a heel, different times, different generations, under different people. Like, yeah.
How many times John Cena wrestled Randy Orton? How many times John Cena wrestled Edge? Like, those, you will be fine. Athena being champion for another 3 months won't kill you. Some of y'all acting like it was killing you. Some of y'all are acting like Mercedes being a champion also is killing you. Relax.
Yeah, relax. Stop regurgitating that Jim Cornette shit.
Please. Please get your own thoughts. Please.
What was it? The Cornette and the Bischoffs. Yeah, that's all you regurgitate.
Mm-hmm.
It's that same opinion every time that's completely wrong. Just stop it. Get some help.
But yeah, also I'm gonna give praise to Anna Jay also. You said it. Like that time she spent in Japan did a lot for her. We've been talking about it, right? She keeps talking about it. So that time really helped her. I feel like more people should get that opportunity. And I feel like they will, but there's not that many spots that are open in Japan compared to being over here. So I think more people get that chance, and we'll just see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll be right. I think it's going to be more opened up in, believe it or not, I think it's going to be more in Ring of Honor that it happens. More than likely.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that, especially if they get a TV deal.
Yeah, you'll see that crossover happening a lot. They're already doing it with New Japan, so I see tons of crossover happening there, and that'll be like that thing that differentiates it from Dynamite.
Yes, right. There's been a lot of like New Japan Strong championship defenses over there in Ring of Honor. So yeah, it'll work.
Yeah. So next up, so Cash and Dax, they finally made it home after he got dropped out in the desert in the middle of nowhere by the Death Riders. And Cash Wheeler said something. I'm gonna quote it. I'm gonna say the quote. I don't disagree with your methods, and we stopped you Death Riders from poisoning another man, and that gets us left for dead. For one, you gotta remember this is insane John Moxley, so yes, any little thing he'll just leave you in the middle of the desert anyway.
Yep.
He stubs his toe, he's gonna look for Cash and Dax and throw him in the desert. And Dax comes in and he's like, hey, they're not Doc Samson is not clearing them until for the rest of the year. So obviously they're not going to be wrestling Christmas or anything. So on January 1st they will be cleared and they're going to fight the Death Riders. So we got an upcoming match between FTR and the Death Riders on the January 1st show.
FTR said they were going to bring a friend too.
Yeah.
And on that day, I see clearly.
Yeah.
That a return could happen. Of someone who was overzealous and jumped off a cage feet first at age 50.
Well, you know what? I never talked about it on here. There's somebody in WWE that did the same spot and then the same thing happened.
Who?
Oh, you didn't know?
No.
Bronson Reed, man.
Bronson's like 30 though, bro. Come, Bronson.
Bronson's like 30, but he's also like 350 pounds.
He is a big boy.
Like, he jumped off the cage and then landed, and his ankle like twisted and cracked in like 60 different ways. That thing is like fucking. The thing exploded. It's ash now. Like, it's just gone. There ain't no way there was anything left of that ankle after that happened.
Bronson and Copeland should have known better. Both of them.
Only one got shit for it, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Shows you how much I watch WWE.
I just saw it in passing. I'm like, ugh. And just kept going. So let's see. Like, there's a lot of fucking backstage segments after this.
Yeah.
So after that, we have the MJF segment. It was pretty much it was pretty much MJF being MJF, right? and he was pretty much selling the match on World's End. And he also got to put up a QR code to for people to buy the match, to buy the event, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
He anything you purchase goes into the foundation of putting Adam Cole out of his misery. Like, all right, okay, I laughed at that. Adam Cole, then appears on screen, and he tells him that during the Dynamite Diamond Ring match, pretty much he's not going to be alone. Taven and Bennett are going to make sure he doesn't use the ring, and then that they are, pretty much going to fight straight up at World's End, and then he, turns back and he asks Max a question. He's like, "Yo, hey Max, am I kicking your ass yet?" And MJF is like, "What the hell are you talking about? Talking all that?" And then Adam Cole appears right behind him and starts beating the crap.
That was probably the best thing Adam Cole has done since he's returned. Honestly.
Yeah. I actually like the thing on Collision also. That thing on Collision was kind of... They're throwing some haymakers, man.
Oh, man. We will talk about that.
Yeah.
We will talk about that.
They were throwing haymakers at each other. I was like, oh, okay. All right. This is the feud finally got good 1 week before the damn match was going to happen.
Yeah. It took both of them taking very, very personal shots at each other.
Yeah. But yeah, well, that whole segment, I know I didn't make it sound great, but the segment was, pretty decent, right? This one and Collision put together pretty much saved whatever was left of that feud for what they got. Now they just got to deliver on the match, which I see it being in the beginning of the card. There's no way it's going to be later.
It can't. And Jeff has been opening these pay-per-views lately anyway when he wrestles, so makes sense.
So after this was another interview with Jamie Hayter. And, pretty much Jamie Hayter was pissed off that Julia came out of nowhere when she was weak and did that DDT tour. And she was like, hey, fight for the fallen. You're not going to catch me weak. You're going to catch me at 100%. And we're going to be fighting. So, and after this, they aired the first vignette of the impending return of Kenny Omega. I was like, oh yeah, it's beginning. It's time.
Let me say something real quick about this before.
Yeah, go for it.
My GOAT is returning. 1. 2, a lot of people are really weird about Kenny, which this is gonna bring me to another point about Blue Sky starting to turn into Twitter a little bit. But people were like, oh, why is Kenny not returning in the AEW ring? It's like, oh, I don't know. He's returning to the ring that literally made him Kenny Omega, where, literally, if Kenny Omega wasn't in New Japan, we probably wouldn't even have an AEW.
Yeah.
The place that literally made Kenny Omega, the Kenny Omega that you love, turned him into this Kenny Omega. Because let me tell you, before New Japan, this was not Kenny Omega.
Yep.
So y'all just relax. Kenny will be back. Go ahead and watch Wrestle Dynasty. That is a damn near AEW show anyway. And you can hear the best commentary team on the planet doing their thing. Walker Stewart and Chris Charlton. Just go ahead and watch Wrestle Dynasty. You'll enjoy it. And shut up.
Yeah, and they're gonna, and it's the reason why he pretty much joined, fighting in Japan first is probably because he's gonna be in the Tokyo Dome both nights. He's gonna be doing, Wrestle Kingdom, that match against Gabe Kidd, and he's gonna be doing Wrestle Dynasty, like both nights. Just watch it.
Just watch New Japan. New Japan's also been really good lately. I know we don't really get to talk about them. They've been really good. So just just watch New Japan. If you don't want to, don't just be quiet about where Kenny's showing up. That's all I ask.
Yeah, like, and he's been in Japan for months now. So he's been training and getting back together. He's probably been training the dojo up there. He's been training with what's his name?
Ibushi.
Ibushi. So, you know, and Tanahashi probably called in a favor. He's like, "Come on, man, let's get you on that show. Let's make it big." And he's like, Omega's like, "I got you."
Literally, the first time we saw Omega back, he was with Tanahashi. So yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, it just makes sense too. Like, also the story between Gabe and Kenny is actually really good. It's a really good story because Gabe is an insane person.
Yes.
He just wants to murder Kenny Omega. He's a war dog. Bullet Club wants to murder Kenny. And Kenny's like, "Oh, I'm happy to be back in the ring, eh?" And, just doing his thing. There was like a little fight between Gabe Kidd and Kenny like a month ago at a show. So just enjoy it. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be good. The whole card for Wrestle Dynasty is gonna be really good, by the way. I took a little sneak peek of it while we were talking.
Yeah.
That is definitely a New Japan show. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dustin Rose and Sammy Guevara are gonna be there too. But it's basically just like American Wrestle Kingdom, pretty much.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. Greatness.
It's in 2 weeks. I wish I was taking a secret trip to Japan like I did last year, but I can't. So I will be here watching. We're gonna talk about it on the pod too, but just y'all relax about where Kenny's gonna show up. Just watch the show, enjoy it. A lot of your favorite wrestlers are gonna be there. Claudio's gonna be there. Ricochet's gonna be there. Brody King's gonna be there. Scapegoat's gonna be there. Mercedes, the Young Bucks are gonna be there. Athena and Willow are gonna be there. Just enjoy the show.
Yeah, just chill out, guys.
Yeah, man.
And he's also there representing AEW. It's not like it's Kenny Omega representing himself in not representing himself as a New Japan wrestler. No, he's representing AEW.
He will literally be back in an AEW ring after this is over. Like, and if you didn't know, from the first hour and 15 minutes of this podcast, AEW has a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah.
So trying to force Kenny Omega in here, as much as I love Kenny, and you can force him into any situation that you want in a card, let everyone else shine. Let Kenny do his thing. Let him come back where he wants to come back, and he'll be in AEW again before February.
Oh,
relax.
Yeah. He'll probably be there the next week.
more than likely, right? Because everyone there is going to be going back to AEW that week.
Yeah, like literally right at Fight for the Fallen, right? Like right after that, like they'll probably all be back.
Yeah, it's literally the next week after Fight for the Fallen. Yeah, exactly. Everyone will be there, so just relax. But that's it. That's all I had.
Yeah, man. But it's great to see the vignettes. It's great to see that hype. And also, the other thing, too, that people aren't talking about is, the Elite's over there. The Elite is over there, too. So, Matt, Nick Jackson, and Jack Perry. I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny Omega shows up and fucks up Jack Perry.
They also have ties to the War Dogs, too, by the way. Well, okay, they have ties to Bullet Club because Jack Perry is literally a member of House of Torture.
Yes.
So the storyline stuff there, you'll be able to see your Kenny Omega storyline stuff there too, but you'll be able to just watch it along with the best wrestling in the world. So, I'm not biased or anything. Just enjoy the show.
Well, I think we'll be starting to talk about more New Japan pretty soon.
Oh, you gonna start watching?
Well, I have an empty slot for a show.
Let's go, bro. They have a show tonight. You can watch it tomorrow.
Like, I ain't watching TNA no more. So yeah.
All I'm saying, they had a show last night. They have a show tonight. That's all I'm saying. Whenever you want to talk, I'm ready.
So we're gonna see about that. I'm for sure watching Wrestle Dynasty though, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. Next up, we had the Patriarchy, Christian Cage and Nick Wayne versus Hook and Shibata. This was it was a pretty quick match, right? It started out with Nick Wayne and Hook. Hook getting Nick Wayne almost kicked Hook's head off right in the beginning of the match, and Hook avoided it. And then, the match, it was going normal for a second, and then it just went into total chaos. Like, there was one point, like, Hook was fighting, and then, like, what's his name? God damn it. I always forget the other guy's name. Kip Sabian.
Yeah.
They're all fighting. Kip Sabian jumps up. Goes for the distraction. He gets kicked. He gets kicked and knocked out of the ring. And at the towards the end of the match, Shibata, what's the name? Christian Cage hits Shibata with the kill switch, and he throws Nick Wayne on top of him. After Nick Wayne already got choked out, he got fucking killed by the sleeper. So, because when he put the sleeper on, the ref was kind of out in a way. So Christian Cage slid in the ring, hit the kill switch, threw Nick Wayne on him, and they win with the pin, and pretty much quote unquote stole the match. They didn't steal. Christian Cage was being the perfect father and making sure his son didn't fail. God damn it. He was the father AEW needed at that point.
I don't know about that. I can tell you one thing though.
What's that?
I'm ready for this Christian Cage filler arc to be over.
Oh, with Hook?
Yeah. This is just filler. We're waiting for something else to happen with the world title.
It probably happened at World's End.
Yeah.
Because there's 4 guys. And they're, of course, going to beat the living shit out of Moxley. And, so if Moxley wins, he ain't going to be 100%. Somebody's going to come up and knock his ass out. And the Death Riders ain't getting anywhere close to that ring.
No.
And Christian Cage will sneak in, hit that kill switch on whoever just won the championship. And he'll win. And it will be the Patriarchy's era.
Going into 2025, yeah, I can see it.
I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Edge comes out and spears him. Then the show's over.
Is either he's going to show up at World's End or he's going to show up on Dynamite. Fight for the Fallen. One of the two.
One of the two, yeah. I'm just inserting him at World's End.
Just throw him anywhere. I'm ready to see Cope come back, man.
Let's see. So we had another Bandito vignette. Those will probably stop for the next few weeks. But yeah, we had another Bandito vignette. All of his vignettes have been pretty cool.
Oh, Bandito.
Let's see. Okay, so we had another backstage interview with Mariah May. Well, it's actually just Mariah May just talking shit to Thunder Rosa. And she asked her had a question. She's like, Papa Rosa, does being a loser run in the family? She's like, I'm not going to bring my father because I wouldn't want him to see what I'm going to do to Thunder Rosa. I'm like, Jesus, girl. Man, you really trying to pick a fight here. You ain't going to get... it's not going to be the kind of fight you want. We talking. This is a Tijuana street fight. You get stuck with anything. There's gonna be glass. There's gonna be like broken needles. There's gonna be all kinds of shit all over them. It's Tijuana.
I don't think Mariah May's been talking a lot of shit. Rightfully so, she's been talking a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I think she needs to calm down on this one. Because we saw what happened on Collision. We're gonna talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah.
She might need to calm the hell down. Talking to Thunder Rosa crazy. There's only one person more crazy in the women's division. There's only two people more crazy in the women's division than Mariah May. And she's wrestling one of them on Saturday.
Yes.
The other one we're about to talk about pretty soon.
You talking to the wrong one there.
Yeah.
That candy skull, that's some battle paint, dude. You ain't fucking with that. Let's see. Okay. So one of the best segments of the night. Tony Schiavone's in the ring. He called out Ricochet. Ricochet, of course, came out. And Ricochet is pretty much going, "Hey man, I didn't change anything. I'm just being me. And then the best theme song in AEW turned on. We Hurt People. And it was all the Hurt Syndicate. And they surrounded Ricochet. And Ricochet was like, hey, what's good, guys? He's like, hey, did you see me beat up Commander? He's like, well, you see how I handled Brody King? And like, he's like, yeah. We saw all that. Do you still have my business card? And, Ricochet, pulled out the business card after they hemmed him up. I think it was Lashley or it was either Lashley or Shelton Benjamin now. Held him by his neck while he was getting the business card out.
I think it was Lashley.
And then he got the business card out and MVP ripped it up. He's like, hey man, nobody likes a kiss ass. And then Bobby Lashley told Ricochet to get the hell out of the ring. And Ricochet obliged, and he got out. He fucking got his ass out of there. Oh, but first, Lashley, made sure his tie was, made sure Ricochet's tie was looking good. Made sure the suit was okay. And he told him to get the fuck out the ring.
Man, Proffitt, I gotta look. Once I saw that clip. Once I watched it, the first thing I tweeted was like, "Oh man, here go Proffitt." And then after I was like, I can't wait to hear what Proffitt has to say about this. So Proffitt, I need to know your thoughts about what happened to Ricochet.
So I tweeted it. He looked like a nerd in a group of jocks. That's how Ricochet looked. He said, "Hey guys, going on? It's like no. Stop." I still think he gets into Hurt Syndicate. I think they're hazing him right now. And if he wins, if there's any possibility that he wins the Continental Classic and becomes a new Continental Champion, by any chance, he's for sure going to be in the Hurt Syndicate. For sure.
There is a scenario, which I know we saw the spoilers already, but there is a scenario where we could get Ricochet and Shelton Benjamin in the semifinals. That's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
By the numbers,
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be fun. And so immediately after this, Shelton Benjamin. Oh well, this was a Continental Classic match between Shelton Benjamin and Beast Mortos.
Mm-hmm.
Shelton Benjamin won, of course, and he, as we said earlier, he ragdolled the Beast Mortos and then won. And then so right after that, you can't get past Renee. Renee came up to Ricochet, and Ricochet was like, "I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna keep on my path of trying to win the Continental Classic." And Swerve and Nana came out. And let me tell you, man, if you guys didn't think Swerve was a superstar, they were so loud saying, Swerve's house, whose house, Swerve's house, that while they're in the back, okay, they're in the back doing the interview, you could barely hear them.
They had microphones. They had microphones in their face too. You couldn't hear what Swerve was saying.
Yeah, that's how loud it was. That man is a superstar. He's transcended. he's moved to that next level. And we'll talk about the collision thing too, which even shows even more he's at that next level.
Oof.
Anytime he pops out, shit's going down, or like it's, yeah, he has that aura about him now. He has that it aura. He has the thing.
He's the guy. He's the franchise. We've been saying it since he became AEW champion. We were on this podcast. We've been on this podcast long enough to where you can go back and hear us refer to Swerve as the franchise multiple times, even though everyone's been trying to take that away from him. Swerve is the guy. And if this week didn't show you, I don't know what's going to show you. Swerve was getting the loudest reactions out of damn near everybody every time he showed up on screen.
And so, like, in this interview, he's like, hey, man, you're trying to be a little follower. And he's like, yo, that ain't going to work here in AEW. You got to work on your own, man. And, Ricochet is like, oh, you know the real me? I know the real you too, Swerve. And, they kind of got a little heat going between those two. So we're planting them seeds for later, right? Because it's not going to end with... So it's also part of the Hurt Syndicate thing. It's just branching out even more. And so after this was RJ City and Tony Storm. And RJ City was asking her all the questions. And he was just like surprised and shocked at all of her answers pretty much. She was kind of like going around things, right? He's like, well, what about you being like multi-time world champion? And she answered in like she's like, well, that hasn't happened yet. Of course not. And stuff like that. It was a really good interview in a psychotic way.
What?
Yeah, go ahead.
What did we tell everyone last week, Proffitt?
It's timeless acting like Tony.
Mm-hmm. And we see it even more this week.
Yeah, even more. But yeah, it was good. And if there was a women's wrestler of the year, it should be... It's Tony Storm, and it should be in Tony Storm on every single media thing. Just no question. There's no WWE person. There's no one in any wrestling organization right now that has had a better storyline, better better stuff like all around than Tony Storm.
Exactly. Man, you know what? I was gonna stop for a second, but you know what? We can gush.
Yeah,
we can gush. Tony Storm right now is easily one of the most interesting people on wrestling TV.
Mm-hmm.
Not AEW TV, wrestling TV.
Yes.
Every time she pops out, every single time, either being timeless, doing her thing, like perfecting the timeless gimmick. Because remember, when Timeless started, it was not. She was trying to cheat, and that wasn't really working. She perfected it. Became world champion. By that point, kind of cemented herself as one of the greatest AEW women, one of the greatest AEW world champions, right? Mm-hmm. 3-time AEW world champion, doing her thing, loses the title, goes insane, disappears, makes us all miss her, just to come back and be captivating again. They easily could have been like, "Oh, I'm back and I want to fight Mariah." No, don't make it simple. Make it seem like there are a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I love this Tony Storm. I'm happy she's back to this. No, motherfucker, she is still timeless.
Yeah.
And you can see it in her interactions with everybody. Some people were being nice about it. Deanna wasn't so nice about it on Collision, but
Oh no.
this is Timeless Toni Storm's greatest acting role is to make people think that she is the rock star. She's not the rock star. She's timeless. We saw it last week. You can hear it when she speaks. She's trying to act like Toni Storm. And there are people who can't see this. And it's insane that you can't see this.
Yeah.
We pegged it immediately.
Yeah, immediately.
So she's gonna get to Mariah. She's gonna get there. But first she has to make sure everyone believes she has amnesia. That she just doesn't remember anything that happened with her in AEW before. We'll see it. She had one of the greatest storylines in 2024. I think she's gonna go. Just might as well just take the cake for one of the best storylines in 2025. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
But that's it. My gushing is over.
Yeah, just by far. There's no, like this past year, there's been no one better than Toni Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out, like all around. Like I'm talking about all around. The all around work as far as storylines, the wrestling, all that stuff. Toni Storm has been it.
Matt Cardona calls it the complete. It really should be the complete Toni Storm.
No. Timeless is correct.
No, you're right. Timeless.
Mm-hmm. Because you'll be able to watch this 10 years from now and it'll still be good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so our final match of the night, because like right after this was the banger of Will Ospreay and Darby Allin, which we talked about earlier. The final match was the trios match between the Death Riders, which was Moxley, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta, and Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Adam Page. Whew. It was a good match.
It was so good.
It was so damn good. Like it was. In the beginning, they kind of worked together, right? Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman. But eventually, they pissed off Hangman, and Hangman's like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out of here. You ain't gonna let me kill Moxley? All right, I'm out." Literally it. So it was a 2v3 for like most of the time, and then and then stuff got a little out of hand, and we started to see a little dissension in the ranks, like towards the end of the match, right? At one point, it was like literally everybody hitting their finisher on each other instead of the enemy. Because like, John Moxley and crew got away. Got away with the victory because like all the chaos happened and then Mox rolled up Orange Cassidy and they won. But Hangman hit there was one point Hangman was about to hit the buckshot lariat because he came back. And everybody got in his way. He couldn't hit the lariat, so it pissed him off even more. So that's kind of what caused the commotion where Orange Cassidy got pinned. But overall, like everybody performed this flawlessly to, give us that, hey, what's going to happen at World's End against John Moxley? Because he kind of fucking stirred the pot to where almost no one's going to team up with each other to beat Moxley, is what it seems. So what are your thoughts on this match and pretty much this storyline going in?
I thought this match was really good. The main event was a very good match. One thing that I noticed that I'm actually really happy about is the dynamic between Jay White and Hangman Adam Page. because you talked about it earlier. Like Hangman was talking, or not Hangman. Jay White was talking a lot of shit about Hangman. Hangman busted the door, and he's like, "Yeah, you're Hangman."
Yeah.
and and then during this match, when Hangman comes back out, Jay White's like, "You're finally here. Go ahead and pin him. It's all you." And it's like gesturing, because I think people forget, or if you didn't watch New Japan, Jay White's also insane.
Yes.
So if there's anyone who can like get to Hangman, it's Jay White. That's why the only people that you've seen Hangman get really mad at are Swerve and Jay White. Swerve is his own kind of crazy, but at least Swerve is just very honest to Hangman, and you know, broke into his house and all that kind of stuff, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, old news, right? Jay White is just a lunatic. Like they are so on the same page because Jay is insane, and that's probably pissing off Hangman even more. So just their dynamic, seeing them two, is just hilarious. Because you could tell that they for sure don't like each other, but the way Jay White shows his disdain for Hangman is just funny, because he's a funny guy. And then Orange is just kind of there, being like, "I just want to beat Moxley. Like I don't care about any of this. I hate Moxley. I just want to make sure he doesn't have that world title." While the other two were like, "I want the world title, but we're also insane people." And other three, Moxley too. Moxley's also insane.
Yeah. They're all psychopaths.
So the most normal person in this is Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy ain't normal either.
No.
So like this whole dynamic between all four of them is just gonna be great. I can't wait to see what they do next, and I can't wait to see what happens at World's End. Mm-hmm. But no matter what, it's gonna be real good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait for the match. I can for sure I see Moxley running. Well, I see Moxley winning the match, but not leaving world champion.
Oh yeah, Christian's going through his filler arc right now with Hook. That can easily change up in a week.
Well, Hook's got the match with Nick Wayne, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on how that goes, we'll know if the filler arc's over or not. Hopefully it is.
At some point, we're gonna have to get Taz back to like really end that storyline.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how long Taz is gonna be out because he got the surgery.
Replaced hip, man. That's gonna be a minute.
Yeah, we're probably not gonna see him for a while. But this is like that filler arc is for Christian, but I do feel like Christian's gonna leave as world champion also. I don't think anyone in the match is gonna beat Moxley, but I do think that Moxley's not gonna have that world title going into next year.
Yeah, I could see Moxley winning the match, but getting beat down, just left in the ring, and then Christian just slides in and wins.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's certain people in the match where it ain't gonna be over. Yeah, somebody gets pinned, and then say it's like, Orange Cassidy gets pinned again, right?
Yeah.
Hangman ain't gonna let that shit go. He's gonna fucking fight everybody. he's gonna run in. He's gonna be like, "I didn't lose," and then he's gonna kill Moxley, and then Christian's gonna come out and pin him.
He's going to take the briefcase and just run off.
Yep.
I can see that too. Easy. That's it. That's all my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Dynamite was fun, especially with the Continental Classic matches. Cool, man. It was really, really good. But yeah, let's talk about that Rampage collision.
Rampage is gonna be real quick. It's very straightforward. There's something real interesting did happen here though that we're gonna have to talk about. First though, we gotta talk about Don Callis and Don Callis' family. Yeah. They came to the ring. I'm not gonna talk about what they said. They were just talking shit. Like Don Callis was very happy with his crew because they're great. At this point, it was kind of funny because Brian Cage came out with the Ring of Honor TV Championship, and at that point he still had it. But a few minutes later, like during the match, he had lost it in another match in another city.
Yeah.
So Just kind of funny stuff. Kyle Fletcher was talking about how he didn't expect to lose to Mark Briscoe. No one expected him to lose to Mark Briscoe. But doesn't care. He's going to win the Continental Classic. And then Powerhouse Hobbs and Mark Davis come out there and interrupt to set up the first match of Rampage, which is Takeshita and Brian Cage, again, Ring of Honor World TV Champion for 5 minutes of this match, versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Mark Davis. Not gonna go into the match because there's not really a lot here. Mark Davis took that pin, sadly. It was a really good match though. They were going back and forth. It was really good. We got a nice little preview with Hobbs and Takeshita in here, which I kind of already figured the match was going to be good, but with their preview made me even more excited for this match.
Yeah.
But either way, it didn't matter. Takeshita and Brian Cage did win the match. That's it. You have any thoughts on those two segments?
No, not really. Mark Davis taking a pin was a no-brainer, though. We knew that.
Yeah.
But he got his get back. He got his get back in the same night later on in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's true. Only to get eliminated 5 seconds later. Yeah. Everyone thought he was going to win. Even commentary was like, oh, this is how Kyle Fletcher... This is what I hate about this, too, now, is that everything that Mark Davis is going to do now, people like to compare it to Kyle Fletcher, which hurts. But, Protostar, he's huge right now, Kyle Fletcher, so I get it. He didn't even win the title. He beat Brian Cage just to get eliminated 2 seconds later. Or 3 seconds later.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm just thinking about it now. Now, if it's completely true, next year's Continental Classic is going to be even more insane. If Speedball Mike Bailey is really coming to AEW, oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Next year's Continental Classic is going to be insane.
There's a lot that's going to be going on next year, especially with the TV deal and them going to Max.
Mm-hmm.
And even WWE going to Netflix. Like, there's a lot of things that are going to be happening next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good year to be a wrestling fan. It's always a good year to be a wrestling fan, but next year's going to be really fun. Right after this, Lio Rush and Action Andretti beat up Miles Hawkins and Goldie. Victims. It was pretty quick. We know Lio Rush and Action Andretti have that tag title match against Private Party coming up next week at World's End. After the match, Private Party actually walk out to the ramp and they're about to confront Lio Rush and Action Andretti, but then Top Flight come out, and then Rush and Andretti knock out Zay and Quinn. Private Party hold the tag titles, and then kind of drop them and just run off after they get in Private Party's face, or not Private Party, after they get into Top Flight's face. Top Flight starts picking up the titles, and I'm like, bro, put them down. Y'all not touching those. And they give him back to Private Party, and that was the end of that segment. Anything there?
Top Flight, don't even look at those titles.
No.
Stop it.
No.
You need to look at, like, Ring of Honor title. You need to build yourself up, because like, your best match was the one against Andretti and Leo, right? And that match was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you need to go to ROH and build yourselves up.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something, right? Because it looked believable for Lio Rush and Action Andretti to hold those titles, right? They have a claim to be number one contenders, right? Obviously, Private Party looks good with the titles because they are literally the AEW Tag Team Champions.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Top Flight picked them up, I was like, ooh, they're just not there yet. Y'all also just lost your opportunity to get there again. Yeah. So I know y'all mad at Lio Rush and Action Andretti, but at the end of the day, even Tony Schiavone said it. They did what they had to do to win, and that's what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You might not like it, especially because it happened to y'all, but y'all don't have a claim. Y'all can be mad at them all you want. Y'all can be mad at Lio Rush and Action Andretti all you want. It doesn't matter. Y'all got to get in back of the line. again.
Or just go to Ring of Honor real quick. Well, not real quick, for a while.
They were there before. That's where they got like the flight gimmick, and then they came back and it just didn't work. They definitely need to figure something out. We talked about this before. Top Flight really needs something. And at this point, the best people out of all this, Lio Rush, Action Andretti, and Layla Gray, all look fantastic in the storyline. Yep. Top Flight though, they just look like they're there.
Yep.
Next up, we had Harley Cameron versus Willow Nightingale. Before this though, which isn't on here, they had a little backstage segment. Willow was excited to talk about being in the International Women's World Cup. She is one of the four with Athena, Persefone, I don't know how to say that, from CMLL, and Momo Watanabe are the other three women for the International Women's Cup. This is going to be happening in 5th. It's going to be a real good match. Statlander shows up. And Statlander wishes Willow good luck. And then kind of walks off. And everyone's looking like, That leads us to Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron, which is a really good match. We've already talked about it. Harley has officially surpassed Queen Aminata as like the most improved player for sure.
Yeah.
I wish we saw Queen Aminata a little bit more, but I mean, what are you gonna do? The match was really good. I'm not gonna break it down too much. You know Willow's gonna win this match.
Mm-hmm.
Something that also happened before this match was Harley Cameron was doing an interview also. Penelope Ford came up, was like, "Hey, I got your back if you got mine." And Harley Cameron didn't know what that meant. She was like, "Something on my back?"
Oh, she said something else too. So, she was like, "Yeah, we both have what was it, Penelope Ford? Yeah, we both have something in common." And Harley Cameron looks down at her, at her boobs, and is like, "Hey, so how much did you pay for yours?" I was like, "That is only something Harley Cameron can get away with."
She can do and say whatever she wants at this point.
Shit's hilarious. Yeah. So how much did you pay for yours?
But I was like, anyway, I got your back. After Willow beat Harley, Penelope Ford came out and attacked Willow from behind. Then Statlander shows up and saves Willow. And Willow's looking at her. Stat's looking back at Willow. And Stat leaves. So it seems like Chris Statlander might have some regrets about some things that happened this year.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get back with their friend. You have any thoughts on this situation?
Actually, it leads more into Collision, though, right? So
yeah.
There's the pre. Well, let me just talk about it now. So, like the pre-match, Statlander was talking about that she's trying to right some wrongs of the year, and that one of the ones was her, breaking the friendship with Willow, and then the other is the TBS title. And we'll talk more about that on that part on Collision. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so she's trying to make amends for the most part. So we'll see.
Which it makes sense, right? Because I think everyone kind of thought that Willow and Chris kind of breaking up was a mistake. Like it was cool. They had a really good match. They had a fantastic match on pay-per-view.
Yeah, that match was like, if there was I forgot what it one more match wasn't on that card. The match, the other match of the night wasn't on the card. That would have been the match of the night.
It was an Osprey match for sure.
Because it was that good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like Stats trying to right some wrongs. It feels like she's still kind of like she was more involved on Collision, was saying that, but Rampage she was still kind of tentative. Like she wanted to go in there, but she didn't. So we'll probably see more of that a little bit later. Stat also did wish Willow good luck in Japan. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how that goes. That's actually all for Rampage. We're gonna move straight over to Collision.
Yep, let's get it.
Your boy, Big Boom AJ and Big Justice are there. And this is gonna be our first chance to really talk about it. They're in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and let me tell you, if this was your first experience, if either Ring of Honor or this episode of Collision were your first time experiencing the ballroom, I'm so jealous of you. I've seen that ballroom for a long time. It holds some memories for me. I've never actually been there. That's one of the venues I really want to go to. And now that AEW ran there and Ring of Honor ran there, eventually I'm gonna make the trip because I want to be in that building one day.
Man, I've seen so many, like, the first time I've seen anything in the Hammerstein Ballroom was ECW.
Yeah, man.
And that shit was crazy, man. Like, it's just, I don't know how it worked. Like, that's the thing. I look at it, I'm like, damn, it's a ballroom. It's perfect for wrestling. I don't know how this works. It's so good.
I love it. I love it so much. Like, we got to see like a lot of people. Like, we saw Claudio when he was in his match. We didn't really talk about like the entrances. We don't really talk about entrances at all, really. But Claudio was walking from the street into the ballroom during his match. A couple people were walking out. Like, even Cardona was like out on the street during Ring of Honor and walked into the ballroom directly. It just, like I said, I want to go there one day. I'm going. There's gonna be a show. I'm gonna make the time. I'm gonna go. I don't know when or where or how, but I'm gonna go. That's on the bucket list for sure. But your boy, Big Boom AJ and Big Justice were there, Profit.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
They were hyping up everybody. They did like a little rundown of the card, talking about who's gonna bring the boom and who's gonna bring the doom.
Yep.
I know you love that. So
You know what?
Uh huh.
I'm just gonna say this, okay? Good for them, right? Like, I can't really hate on them, right? They got the chance to do the stuff. Obviously, people like it, right? I can't hate on it. Like, I just can't. They're doing what hey, they're getting paid to do this shit too. So it's even better for them, right? I can't really hate on it.
It gives AEW some motion too because people watch them. I don't. I still don't. I've never actually watched their stuff. Like I talk about podcasts. I didn't know who they were. So I'm old.
I've never watched them, but I've never watched any of their stuff. But you know what? Hey, it got them to be able to be in an AEW ring and bring the boom and bring the doom. So hey, good on them. Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't hate.
So the first match was Ospreay Ricochet. We already talked about that. I'm not going to go through that again. The first thing we're going to be talking about is a face-to-face between MJF and Adam Cole.
Mm-hmm.
MJF came out here throwing barbs, saying that, the only thing that's a bigger enemy to you is your spray tanner, a crack on the floor, or a cavity because I heard your dentist isn't seeing you anymore. Which if you watch the party, their channel, the party channel with Xavier Woods, Claudio, Tyler Breeze, and Adam Cole. Adam Cole's definitely in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying nothing, but So MJF was throwing his barbs. Adam Cole kind of threw some back. He's like, I'm not you. I could talk about the 2 surgeries you had in your hair in your 20s. Not going to do that. Talk about every time you enter a room, everyone leaves because you're annoying. Not going to talk about that. They were just kind of throwing barbs back and forth. It culminated with MJF saying that he was upset because he was going to turn on Adam Cole before Adam Cole did it. And yeah, that's really it. They talked a lot, but that's really how it was, and then they ended up fighting at the end. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Um, so it was their best segment that they've had. This one and the one on Dynamite. Um, because honestly, like their whole feud has not been hit. This is the first time it actually hit. And it's pretty much the end of the feud. So the first time it hits is at the end of the feud. So we'll see.
I I'm still not really that big of a fan.
I'm not saying I'm a fan of it,
Yeah.
but this is the only one that, out of all their things, this is the only one that was. The last two were the only one that were good.
Yeah, because they were kind of trading barbs, right? That was really the only thing that made it like they were actually able to be in the place together. We didn't have to rely on Adam Cole, which it's weird to say this, but Adam Cole definitely does not feel like he has a lot of steam right now.
Actually, the funny thing is neither of them do, right? Like they need to like end this feud. They just need to end it. Like, and it's gonna end at World's End. So once it ends and they go off on their separate paths, they can both start getting steam wherever they're gonna go.
That's the hope, man, because this is one of those MJF things where I'm like, yeah, this is MJF. This is he'd be really great in WWE. Not really that big of a fan of the stuff that he does. Great wrestler, great talker, but like he did the "you're goddamn right I did" the same thing he did to Garcia earlier this year. So like,
Yeah.
once I notice a pattern, it's like stuck there. And I know every wrestler has a pattern. Everyone does, right? That's just how it works. But when I see the pattern, I can't let it go. And MJF had this same kind of promo battle with Garcia months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like I know it's great because it's Adam Cole and MJF, but I already feel like I saw this before. And you can say that about a lot of wrestling. And I know this, my brain is weird, but seeing the same person say the same thing to someone else, I'm also ready for this to be over.
Yeah, I think where Adam Cole does his best work is when he is in, kind of like you look at the NXT Black and Gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did his best work when he was like going to war with people, like when he was like pretty much ruthless. We'll just put it like that. That's what Adam Cole does his best work. Right now, he's kind of like tweening, in a way. So once he can actually like get into a better feud with somebody, or actually just like start racking up a ton of, racking up wins, cementing his spot where he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be like that's what's going to be the best for Adam Cole.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely need to get that point. We know him and MJF are going to have a barn burner. Like, they're going to have a great match at World's End.
Oh yeah. That's not even like I'm not even worried about the match. It's everything else. Everything else is the issue.
Yeah, which is
Because
getting there. Yeah.
because of the timing, right? If it was still like the better than you, baby, and all that stuff, and like right when it was supposed to happen, then it would have felt way better, right? But there was that long break, and then they're doing it again. Not again, but continuing the story, and it was just too long.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the issue is. It was just too long between the things that happened and ending the story.
It definitely didn't help that they both disappeared, right? Like, MJF was doing like contract stuff, I guess, allegedly, and then Adam Cole was hurt. So like all this this probably would have ended months ago if everyone was still healthy and doing their thing.
Yeah.
But hey, they made it work. Hopefully they stick to their word and they do end this at World's End. No matter who wins, they all both just move on and do whatever they're gonna do. Right after this, we had that promo segment with Chris Statlander backstage that you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And basically she said what you talked about earlier. Lexi asked about Willow. Statlander said that Willow and her have a lot to discuss. They're gonna do that privately. And she said, Penelope, you're looking for a fight. I'm here. This year has kind of sucked for me, and it started when she lost the TBS title. So she said she's gonna win it back and right her wrongs. So she called out Mercedes for World's End. And we do get it answered later, but I'll hold off on that. We'll get there pretty quick. It's not that long.
Yeah, we're gonna get there pretty quick.
Yeah. Right after this, Lexi was back there with Orange Cassidy also. Basically, Orange is really focused on the AEW World Championship. We just want to make sure that Mox takes it away from Moxley. That's it. Like we've seen how this goes. Like Orange Cassidy does not like Jon Moxley for a good reason. He is literally the only one on Team AEW in this match that's trying to actually save AEW. So we'll see what happens with Orange Cassidy a little bit later. We are going to move straight to Chris Statlander and Penelope Ford. Another really good match. It's just nice to see Penelope Ford in the ring again.
Yeah. She's been... Actually, she's just been in the ring consistently now, which is great.
It's fantastic. We all know how this goes, though. Chris Statlander won the match. It was a very good match. So definitely watch it if you haven't. After this, though, is when Mercedes shows up. And Mercedes is like, I was going to take time off for World's End. But it's a holiday season, so I'm going to be nice. So, yeah, we can wrestle. So, we have confirmed that we're going to get Chris Statlander versus Mercedes Moné 2 at World's End. And because of how much of a barn burner that first one was, we knew we were going to get it again. And I'm happy they're just doing it again. Don't wait. Just do it again. You have any thoughts on any of this stuff?
No, the match between Statlander and Penelope Ford was pretty good. Like, especially at the end where she pretty much deadlift suplexed her twice. And then hit the Saturday Night Saturday Night Fever.
Mm-hmm.
In one match at the end. That shit was ridiculous. And yeah, her and Mercedes are gonna have another barn burner. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. I can't wait.
They're somehow gonna get more time than they did before. It's wild to think that the match with Mercedes and Chris was the longest women's match. It's crazy to think about, but hey, surpass it. Let's do better next time.
Yep.
Next is a very, very interesting little piece. Your boy, Big Boom AJ and Big Justice come back out to the ring.
Lord have mercy.
But then they were interrupted by Chris Jericho, who had successfully retained his Ring of Honor World Championship. He's calling himself the King of New York, but he's there with Brian Keith and an actual New Yorker in Big Bill. Jericho is talking shit about AJ. But then the weird part is this was pretty forced, but it actually kind of worked out. Is Jericho was like, "Oh yeah, we don't have time for goofy gimmicks and we don't have this stuff." And he tried to scissor Brian Keith, and then the Acclaim music hit. And Anthony Bowens walked out by himself.
Yep.
And let me tell you, this was all I needed. We had already known that we all wanted Bowens to be a single star, because we knew he could. This is all I needed. I didn't need anything else. This cemented it for me. He was out there. He made the scissor thing work again. That was the loudest I heard people for scissoring in months. Big Boom AJ kind of messed it up though, because he wanted to do the boom. He didn't do the scissor. Doesn't really matter. But Bowens out there talking shit, and he was keeping up with Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
He also had this very serious demeanor on him too, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, he's different from, when he's with, Caster or whatever. And they're also, so I didn't know if you caught it on commentary. The commentary was like, hey, it almost made it sound like they were having that, since he came out by himself, he's kind of had a falling out with Caster and Billy Gunn, and is just coming out by himself now.
Mm-hmm. Well, Billy hasn't really been around either, and then Caster got his ass whooped by by Swerve, so he's gonna be out for a little bit.
He got destroyed.
But it was just. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, the second, besides Bowens coming out, the second biggest, pop was, what's his name? Big Bill.
Oh yeah, Big Bill said words, and then the crowd went crazy for him.
Yeah. It's almost time for Big Bill to start going away, but get away from Jericho, but maybe not. I don't know.
We saw it in England, right? We saw it in England. England was going crazy for Big Bill during that episode of Dynamite.
And he was trying everything to be bad, and they weren't having it, dude.
No. Then Big Bill went away for a little bit, and then he comes back, and again he comes back with a Giant shirt on, with a New York shirt on. So yeah, he was gonna get cheered no matter what. He could have went out there and just stood there. He would have got cheered. He's in New York. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But either way, Jericho walked out. He looked like a little bitch, and Bowens had a scissor party with Big Boom AJ, Big Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Anything on this one?
No, I had fun. It was a fun little segment.
Next up, Lexi Nair was backstage with Vendetta. Vendetta being Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie. While they're talking about who's up next for the Vendetta, Toni Storm kind of walks in front of the frame in camera. I was like, oh my god, Deonna, Taya, it's so nice to meet you. And then Deanna's like, I'm tired of this shit. Like, what do you think you're doing? What about your duck tattoo with the knife through it? And Toni Storm's like, how'd you know about that? So that sets up a match that we're going to be getting between Taya Valkyrie and Toni Storm, I believe, on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on this one?
That's going to be fun. You also got to see the giant ring that Big Bill gave to, the wedding ring that Big Bill gave to Lexi Nair. I think it's huge.
Oh, they got money over there in AEW. Don't let them fool you.
Gave her a giant rock. I was like, God damn. All right, Bill, I see you. No, overall, yeah, I think we're going to get a damn good match, though, between Taya and Tony. That's going to be fun.
Oh, for sure. Next up, after we had a couple Continental Classic matches, but we're not going to talk about those. We already did. We heard from Julia Hart, who basically just challenged Jamie Hayter for January 1st, Fight for the Fallen. So we'll see that.
Mm-hmm.
The final thing that we actually have to talk about, well, I guess not final, but final-ish, is Alex Marvez was backstage with Mariah May, and Mariah May starts talking to Thunder Rosa's dad again, talking a lot of shit, which was a mistake. Thunder Rosa comes up out of nowhere, starts beating the hell out of Mariah May, saying they're talking about my dad. Mariah May tries to run away. She goes to the ring, can't escape Thunder Rosa. They did get broken up, but they were out there brawling. That's setting up for their match next week, the Tijuana Street Fight.
Yep.
Any thoughts on that before we go to the last little thing that we're going to talk about?
No, I thought that was a great lead up, and yeah, it's going to be crazy fighting crazy. So we're going to get something good, and actually, both people know how to do the thing, like do the wrestle. It's not. I'm not even going to mention it. It's just they're going to. I'm looking forward to that match. It's going to be good.
Last thing we're talking about is after Claudio beat Darby with the brass knucks, Will Ospreay came out there to stop Claudio from attacking Darby again, which kind of sets up, It feels like those two might be the final two in the Continental Classic. Who knows?
Who knows?
We do. We saw the spoilers.
It's my fault.
We're not talking. We still didn't talk about them. But yeah. You have any thoughts on Collision as a whole?
Collision as a whole was pretty damn good. You put the whole thing together with the Continental Classic and everything in between. It was good. I almost want to say I liked it more than Dynamite.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Actually, hold on. There's one more thing we didn't talk about.
Go for it.
So, after the match with Shelton Benjamin and Daniel Garcia.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Garcia picks up the pin. Gets out of the ring. He's like, I beat you. The Hurt Syndicate run down. Of course, Lashley hems him up. And hems up to Garcia. And MVP, he gives Shelton Benjamin the cane to hit Daniel Garcia with it. And as he's about to do that, Mark Briscoe comes down, and all the AEW security are holding him off. And while all that is going on, and everybody's distracted one way, Swerve comes out, and he jumps off the top rope, and Swerve stomps into the middle of all of them, and is standing in the middle of them, looking like a badass. And then, he rolls back into the ring, and man, when Swerve came out, there was a whole different aura that came with it. And you had that, and the fans were going nuts. Again, it was one of those moments where you couldn't hear shit. If you were in that building, you wouldn't have been able to hear anything. Right? And, you had the Who's House going, everybody chanting Swerve's house and stuff. In the Hammerstein Ballroom, it was insane looking. It looked great.
Yeah, it did.
Fantastic. So yeah, that's the last one we had to touch on.
You have anything else on Collision as a whole? As a whole? Yeah.
As a whole, Collision was fantastic. I think I like Collision more than Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. It also helped that they were in like Hammerstein, and the crowd was crazy for a majority of the show too. Mm-hmm. Like it was just a nice atmosphere to have in AEW, because we don't get that consistently. You know what I mean? So It was nice to just see like a rabid fan base going crazy, and they were doing pretty good on Dynamite too. But it just you're in Hammerstein Ballroom. It's just it's it's like a wrestling mecca. So the venue looks fantastic when you're in there. Collision just felt great.
Yeah.
And I think Dynamite's in there too, right? Because when they taped Dynamite today, they were in New York still, right?
They were still in New York. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna get Dynamite for in Hammerstein also, and they gave him a day. And they gave him a day to rest. So oh my god.
So it's gonna be good.
and then Ring of Honor was there too. And then I got I'm not gonna say the spoilers, but I heard like people were like really excited about like what was going on for the Ring of Honor show that happened in the ballroom too. So it's just, that's one of those venues that AEW don't run into the ground like they did Chicago, but definitely at least once a year, head down to New York, do your thing, have a really good crowd there, just have fun.
Yeah, it's gonna. That's like the perfect spot.
Yeah.
There's that, and I forget the other one, because there's the Hammerstein Ballroom, and then there's that one. I think it's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, the 1600 Arena, or the 1600 Arena, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
MLW runs there a lot.
That one's ridiculous too.
I'm trying to find it really quick, just to make sure we have the name of it. The 2300 Arena. is what it's called.
2300 arena.
2300 arena. I was a couple thousand numbers off.
You're only about 500 off. You're good.
Yeah. But they do a lot there. Like boxing's there. Like a lot of stuff is there.
Mm-hmm.
That's another venue I really want to go to one day. I have a list of those, but we can talk about those later.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it, man. You want to take us home?
All right. I shall take us home. All right, guys. If you got this far, thank you for listening to the podcast, getting that 411 on AEW, and just being there and just enjoying the show. If you haven't already, please please click on that like button, because it will for sure help us out if you like the podcast. If there's any topics that we talked about that you want to throw some that you want to have a conversation about, throw some comments in there. Don't worry, we talk back. We're trying to be a community here, so yeah, for sure, throw some comments in there. Let's talk about it. And of course, if you want to get the rest of our videos and our other content, subscribe and hit the bell, because of course that will give you they'll give you a notification anytime our content goes up. And you know what? Once again, thank you, and we're out.
Peace.